Well, hello, everybody. Yes, we are tardy, but time got away. Time's like herding cats. Sometimes, no matter how much you try. Do you remember, Trina, when we were kids and we used to play with mercury and we always thought it was so cool how you touch it and, of course, never knowing that it was extremely toxic, but
Right.
we didn't care, you know.
Now
Hell,
they
they
shut the
gave us
school down and
chemistry.
bring in the hazmat suits.
They actually gave us chemistry sets that were had radioactive material in them. I
Yeah,
mean, come
yeah.
on. And
We
then
didn't have seat belts and all that stuff, and look at us go.
geez, and what parent in their right mind would give a 6-year-old a soldering gun? I got one when I was I think no, actually I think I was 5. And my grandparents gave me this soldering set that you could
Yeah,
get wood. Oh, I burnt
yeah.
myself more times on that, but anyway. Welcome everybody. So good to see everyone. Thank you for tuning in and turning on and adding to the flavor. It's
That's
better when
right.
everyone participates. That's all I got to
Mhm.
say. We speak favor over us all, and we're going to be talking about favor because Loretta, no, no, we're
Mhm.
not. Who was that? Give
Yeah,
me,
Loretta
yeah,
Enigma. Yeah.
yes, thank you.
Mhm.
She really did do an update, and I want to read it because,
Yeah.
well, today is Rapture Day, so it is our goal to enrapture all of you. Are you
Did
feeling it,
you
baby?
did you hear about the what's going on tomorrow with the 100 chauffeurs?
No, no.
Yeah, Israel, for the first time in its history, is going to bring together all the priests, and they at one time, simultaneously in unison, will blow 100 shofars at the same time. This has never been done, and they said it will be an earth-shaking event.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I don't like their God, so yeah.
To say, wait, we might be in for something interesting.
Well, my God's bigger than their God. No.
I believe that could be
Anyway,
true.
uh, but we got favor, and that's one thing that we do. So we speak it
Mhm.
over us all. Nothing missing, nothing broken. And of course, that is the Hebrew word shalom, which is perfect peace. So
Mhm.
there you go. It's everywhere. And as I like to say, be kind to your mind. In fact,
Yeah.
um, I bought uh, quite a bit of initial merchandise because, folks, you never know. It may at one time become like this really big collector's item. So,
Mhm.
and if you drink coffee or hot drinks, it's always nice to have a mug. And it ain't the picture of my mug, but it's a representative of my mug. But anyway, so get yourself a mug and get a hug. That's the only thing I can say. So, anyway, and Nina, I know that you put that in the chat room. It's also in the link. So it's very cool stuff. Thank you, Nina. Appreciate that. Because I am the worst at promoting myself. I just really not.
I
I
feel
like
you.
yeah, I'm just not that good at it. And so anyway, so everyone hello in the chat room. I have to tell y'all before we get going, Trina. It's good to see you, sweetie.
You
Missed you
too.
last week. I
I
know Miss.
missed you. I was so like happy I get to see you today and everybody in the Soul Tribe. I was like, oh,
Yeah. Well, we tried to carry the water, Jenny and I, and we did an okay job, but it's never
yeah.
like when you got the real thing. So, um, I always like to stimulate the minds of those who typically aren't free thinkers. Free thinkers are very rare. Uh, but so I'm in the grocery store this morning, and there were two employees, and one was, I would say, was probably in her early 20s. The other woman, she smoked. You could tell that she was a smoker. I'm thinking 50. She may, I don't know. But anyway, and so the younger one said to her, "Do you know that today is the rapture?" And the older woman said, "What?" And so I'm with my shopping cart hearing this, right? And she says, yeah, they say that today, is the rapture. And the other woman said, well, I highly doubt that. So I turned my shopping cart around, went over to the aisle, and by that time there was the two workers and there was this couple. And I told to the two workers, I said, I'll give you $100 if you can tell me Eve's first daughter's name. And you could have heard that classic, you could hear a pin drop. And the older woman said, I never read that she had a daughter, much
Mhm.
less a name. She
Yep.
said, "Wow." She said, and I said, "Well," I said, I would have doubled that if you could have told me the second daughter's name." And there was this younger couple over there, and this is exactly what she said to her husband. She said, "Is he saying the truth?" And her husband, and these were a young couple, and you could see where it was. He was like, "Not sure. We're going to have to ask the pastor about this."
Exactly.
So
Yep.
awakenings are happening everywhere. So there you go.
What is Eve's daughter's first name? Is it Noriega or
No,
what is
there's
it?
no record of it.
I did hear one time, and my God, they said she was so powerful. That's why they did hide her name. But I think it's something like Noriega or something. It's there. I've heard her name once, and I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. And that's probably part of what goes with that name. They don't want it exposed, but I've heard very powerful things about
According
her.
to the Judeo-Christian belief system, there is none. There's none listed in
Correct.
Genesis. There's none listed
Correct.
the Epic of
But
Gilgamesh.
In the Nag Hammadi, and some of the divine scriptures I've read about Eve and her daughter, and also Lilith too.
Yeah, but that's unsupported. I mean, what we have to deal
Yep.
with is which is the canonical canon, right? That's what everyone bases reality on.
Yeah.
But no. And it was interesting. So as I'm pulling away, the older woman said, "May I ask, who are you?" And I said, "Well, I'll just leave you this thought." I said, "Isn't it interesting that the throne of God is surrounded by males? There's no female." And she said, I never thought about that. And I said, let's just go one step further. I said, do you know why Islam teaches that there's no women in heaven? And she says, no. I said, because the woman has no soul. And she said, Mister, who are you? And anyway, so it
Yep.
goes to show you in particularly where I live, it's very conservative, very redneck, very, Bible based.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Loretta says, why should the pastor have the knowledge? Isn't
Because
that the way it
they
always is?
initiate the right. They keep the programs in place.
Don't they? Don't they? Don't they? So anyway,
Yeah.
Trina, I do want to read to everybody because this is what brought this group together. I saw Lucky Stone that he had done recently another favor affirmation.
Mhm.
And to me, it's the highest compliment for myself to see how this is spreading, how people are now picking up on, hey, there's magic in this. Yeah, it's called love. I mean, love is the
Favor.
highest magic there is.
I think favor, I've really processed this a lot too. I think about what is the essence of favor? Essence. What is the essence of
Hmm.
favor? You know where it takes me every time? Grace. And that
Yes.
is a powerful frequency. And holy macaroni. Wow. So yeah, when I really dig in, that is grace. That's a
It's the
beautiful,
creative force of life is
yeah,
is that energy.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, so beautiful. It's
So
powerful. Mm.
Loretta, we do appreciate. Let me just get this,
Mm.
and I will show y'all. Um,
That's why I loved what she wrote so much. I was like, oh my
yeah,
gosh, look.
it
I was
was
like,
just
girl, you got it.
beautiful. I think it's right over here. Yeah. So. She wrote, and I like this: I stand before favor, and favor accepts me. I stand before grace, and grace walks with me. Those who bestow protection and prosperity watch over me. I and the soul tribe are favored with all blessings. Um, we are covered with peace, love, and harmony. Our families are loved and protected. Our stores and homes are protected. Our pets and animals are covered. Where we go, we are covered. Where we go, we are covered. Excuse me. When we become a magnet for peace, prosperity, protection, and love, our powers are restored. We are made complete. Our wants and needs are answered. Our peace is assured. What is set against us will not prosper, but die on the vine. I love that. What is spoken is done, so mote it be.
Mm,
I love that.
fabulous.
You
I do
got,
too.
you know, you read that, that just puts you in a happy place.
Yes.
It does.
Yeah.
And
Especially when you feel it as
mm,
though it's real, it really feels wonderful. Yeah.
and it's interesting too because when you realize that those words were spoken by a God, they become powerful when they become your words. And those words reverse the curse. If you think that there's a curse that's been put onto you, I would suggest that you get yourself into a circle. Uh, I, I, a circle is very sacred. It permeates all religions. And depending on how you perceive things, you can draw it with chalk, you can draw it with salt. But get in the middle of that, have that recited. And if you, for instance, are struggling financially, bring a bill, a note that, represents your debt. And then in another bowl, bring in what you're thinking. And that could be represented by your wallet, your purse, however it is. And then speak that over your finances. If there's a curse, it will be reversed, it will be broken, and it's an opportunity for you then to receive what is the natural current within this reality. It really, truly, and folks, I speak that because I've done it.
Uh-huh.
I
What you
wrote
think
that.
about, you will bring about if you really think
Mhm.
about it in the right way. Yeah, because the consciousness creates.
It's a
So
ritual.
yes, and beautiful when you talk about create the circle. It's so funny. I am the circle. Because
We're all, yeah.
when I think about creating a circle, all I do is I think about stepping into the full power, the full potential, and the full presence of my energy field. It's a circle.
On top of that, I have 10 circles here that I can lay. They're
Yes,
called my fingerprints.
yes.
And fingerprints are really, really a big deal. Uh,
Yeah.
they
That's
are.
it, because that is the manifested material proof and evidence of the uniqueness of you through the oneness of creation. It is a beautiful identifier of your specific frequency.
And what's
Yeah,
so cool? None of us have the same.
that's what I mean. It's
I
unique.
love
It is
it.
proof that it is every single one of us carry a different sound. And all of us together create the orchestra or the organs of the body that we are existing in, metaphorically speaking. Yeah.
You know what I miss is that back in my youth, I hung out with intellectuals. They were all 5, 6 years older than me.
Hmm.
We would get really stoned and really get into deep philosophical discussions. And it was quite amazing that when you get a group and all of a sudden the open frequency is open and these ideas begin to move and undulate amongst the group, it's a far out trip. I swear that must be
I
what
see
it's like.
Jenny.
I see Jenny down there. Hi,
Hi,
dear. You're
Jenny.
looking fabulous. Can we hear her?
I don't know.
Jenny?
I can't hear her.
I can't hear her either.
We can't hear
One
you, love
second.
bug.
See, that sign language I can understand. It's like, I know what this is. I know what this is. I know what that is. So, I don't know. Oh, live long and I can't do that. That's cut, but I can do
No, I
long and
see her
prosper. Yeah.
beautifully. I just can't
Yeah.
hear her. I'm like, I see you, but I can't hear
We
you.
see you, Jenny. We see you. Want to say thank you for the recent two last lectures. Operation Crossroads, thank you. They were anointed. Folks,
Yeah,
here I'll let you in a little secret. If
yeah,
many of you probably know this, but a lot of times I'm channeling when I'm
yeah,
doing these presentations. So it's
yeah.
yeah, just a
You
little
do. You tune in.
FYI.
Yeah, the vibration. It brings in the information that's in resonance with that frequency that you're connecting to. It's a
Hmm.
beautiful thing, and it's part of what we are. And I love too when you were talking about the whole baptism, how transformation. I was like, there's something to this that
There really
through our
is.
our thoughts and where we're focusing our energy on, we're literally creating the sound of that. And that's why I'm very a little wondering about this whole sounding of all these horns. This is gonna do
Well,
something.
if you study Judaic history, and I have, I almost
Hmm.
married a Jewish woman.
Hmm.
You know, almost converted. Rabbi
Hmm.
Fuchs said to do the Jewish people a favor and don't, so I didn't. Uh,
Run away!
but if you've ever been in the temple when the shofar is blown, just one alone is quite something. And according to the myth and the legend, it's what the Israeli army would send the priest out before the
Hello.
army. Yeah, now we're hearing you.
Yeah. Ah, good.
Hello.
I
Yeah,
was testing it. I didn't know if you would hear that. Sorry.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, we're done.
Wayne. They're saying that's the calling forth of divine intervention.
Well,
That's
on the
what they're
mysticism, on the
saying.
Kabbalah side
Or
of the
close
equation,
calls.
it's calling in Michael.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Well, the problem is, you see, golems, Gentiles, we don't really fully understand what that really means. And when they call in Michael, Michael is you it could be a
He's got
very
a
bad
sword.
day for the world. I don't mean, and I don't know
Yeah.
even, in fact, it's odd that you're saying this because I wrote, why angels and demons? If the Anunnaki are truly the ones that set this thing in motion, then why do we believe in the angels and demons? And it's a westernized thought worm. I mean, do they really exist? Are these the gods playing a joke on us? That they line up on one side, but the inside joke is they're already, you know, they're connected. It's an inside job, man. I don't know.
I see they've got different names for it, but I see them kind of in every belief system. The dark spirits and the Native Americans. You got the jinns. So I see them running through all the belief systems. They just don't have the same name, but they hold the same essence. You know what
I
I
wrote
mean?
in my meditation this morning, I wrote the Greeks and the Romans never had access to the Sumerian tablets. Now, the question I was meditating on, if they did, would it had mattered?
That's a good question.
I mean, and I love Lucky. If y'all want to check out his answer yesterday when
Mhm.
I asked the question, because he's the only one that answered it. Why do humans pray?
Mhm.
No,
Lynn
Because
and
I
I,
think I think literally it's
no.
been programmed in our DNA to
bingo.
worship.
Lynn and I talked about that. I love my
That's what I
wife,
think.
but she just looked at me and she says, the biggest gift I've had in my life is you. She says, I don't know where you come up with this stuff, but she says, I really like it.
No.
See, I
And I
had
want
faith
some
Anunnaki.
for that,
more of
Wayne.
it.
I'm like, our brains float down the same rivers a lot of the time. Like, I'm like, oh, thank God for that.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
it keeps a marriage fresh. It really does. I
Yeah.
mean, because it's,
Gemini thing. It's a Gemini thing. He always throwing
it's
something
like,
new in.
Yeah, anyway, so love that woman of mine. So anyway, Miss Jenny, how you been, sweetie?
Okay, busy bee. Building
Mm.
that event that I'm doing. So I'll be posting that this week for a energy bending session in person. It's in like a gym. So I'm looking forward to getting that done. So I've been working really hard on that. Um, Kids are doing well. Will's done really well. He's been back to the gym today. So that's a huge thing for him. So he's doing really well. So yeah, we're all good. We're busy. The time seems to be so warped right now. So it felt like I hadn't seen you for 2 weeks, Wayne. Trina, it felt like I hadn't seen you. Well, no, I tell a lie. I nearly told a lie because I did see you in my dream 2 days ago. So it felt like I'd seen you sooner than I'd seen Wayne, but it felt like weeks for Wayne rather than just
I was
last week.
telling Wayne that. I was like, gosh, I missed you
And
guys so much. It felt like a long time. I was like,
a
I was
long
so excited to,
time.
you're right. I
Yes,
was
yeah.
like,
So yeah, it's felt really warped at time and trying to fit time in for self and the things that I preach, the meditations, the energy work has been difficult. So I'd like to tell people to find the time for that, for the important grounding work, the things that we do, but when things get busy, that's one of the first things that have to be thrown out sometimes. And I've been quite committed to that this week, which I feel has been better. Got it over. I don't think religion is the scorn of the earth. It is the worst thing that oppressors could have come up with. It's absolutely man-made. It is so distorted and abstract from anything like the Sumerian tablets and before that we've got people living in a narcissistic paradigm. I realize that right now. And I don't think narcissism, this came to me in spirit today, it's always been my knowing that narcissism hasn't always existed the way we know it
Oh,
today.
I think I
Um,
agree.
because of
I want to
this
give a
thought work.
shout out
I
real
know
quick.
we've had
Um,
peace.
Max Vision is in the house. I haven't
Meditation.
seen Max in a while. But
Such
Max,
a
I
cool
love what he
name.
wrote. He says, pray or pray.
right. That's what caught
Mhm.
me onto the whole, what is this? Oh
Yeah.
gosh, we're being programmed to be slaves and worship. It's like part of our makeup. I was like, this is deep. Wow.
Trump's a
Hunted.
demigod, Carol. She said Trump said we need to bring back religion. Folks, you got to accept the reality. The gods are walking among us. And the main crew, they're either I'm looking forward to Thursday with Cindy and Mike, but I've had the weirdest freaking dreams, and it's like I think I've opened up something. I mean, my dreams have been one that maybe it's just me, but I think these beings, as I said yesterday, they rule many different planets, many different solar systems. They're not limited to our neighborhood. And it is like a traveling field boss.
Mhm.
They visit a job site and then they move on to the next job site, right? But they're going to come
Exactly.
back to that job site again. And I
Hmm.
think what's happened, they left watchers, those who were to continue the experiments. But the thing about it is that we've been virtually left on our own. And I don't think Mama and Papa are going to like what we've been doing. I just don't think this religion that we created, Jenny, as you said it best, they're man-made, but they gave us the template.
Hmm.
And look what we went and freaking created. We've got 4,000 different gods represented by 4,000 different religions. In one of the religions, they have 33,000 schisms. That's Christianity. Whoa.
And
I
it's a
mean,
walking contradiction. It's
yeah,
a
we
walking
don't we complicate
contradiction.
crap? I mean,
It's a bit like Dolly. We've been training Dolly, Dolly dog. We've been training her because Mum always enjoyed giving her the packets after food. Well, of course, Dolly has a toy basket that she empties in the morning and she puts her toys away at night. Super cute, but she doesn't know the difference between the bin and a basket. So now she's living here. I'm like, oh, hell no. We're not having bins being emptied daily when I turn my back. So no packets, no nothing. She gets a food in a bowl and that's it. No treats outside for training, not. And very quickly she's caught on to the fact that my bin doesn't represent a toy basket. That's what this, and it came to me that that's what this, it's dolly dog religion, in that people are contradictions so much, like all loving God, unconditional love, unless you don't give your life to him and then he's going to send you to a fiery pit of hell. That's not unconditional love, people. And we don't show it to a fellow man either. So we're a confused bunch for sure. It's a dolly dog contradictive religion.
Yeah, and it's very, and I'll share this. This is why Trina and I were late because we got
How
talking.
is it?
Um, so I'm doing the dishes, right? And dishes is a great meditation. It really is. I mean, you're immersing yourself into the water. You know, it's symbolic of cleansing. So it's a pretty cool ritual thing if you see it that way. So one of the things when I used to preach the gospel, um, and get up at, 4 o'clock in the morning, Lynn and I would spend an hour and a half in prayer and Bible study. But the one thing I could never figure out was that, all right, so supposedly we are born again, right? But yet we're still the same. I mean, people sin before they met that epiphany, and they're going to sin afterwards if you have the sin consciousness. So the big thing is salvation. You know, Nicodemus said to Jesus, well, how can a man be born again? Does he have to enter his mother's womb? And Jesus said, no, you have to be born of the Spirit. So yesterday's show, when I was channeling, you have to understand spirit could be equated to genetics. Your DNA is what makes your spirit.
The Holy
Antenna
Grail.
for the
It's the
spirit.
code. It's your
And the
code.
antenna, it's how you
Yeah,
can tune
yeah.
in. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
So I'm washing the dishes, and this thought, I mean, it literally, when it comes into me, it's always colors. And typically it's this beautiful, it's like a blue green, but it's a blue
Aqua.
green
Yeah.
that's kind of the
Aqua.
color.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I heard this voice and said, salvation is nothing more than a genetic upgrade.
I think that's
You alter
right.
your DNA, you can become a whole different person.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And it
It's
goes
just
with
like
the
changing a
Anunnaki
radio
thing.
dial,
Yeah,
You turn into a
yeah,
new station, you're going to hear a different song. And that's what
Mhm.
you're doing. You're accessing the higher vibrations that you have access to that are in a very dense field. Those are take a little more work to tune into.
yeah.
So that's what I do think salvation is. And too, Wayne, they always say salvation is an individual
It
process.
truly is.
It's
Yeah.
not something that somebody can give you. It's
But the
something that
religion
you must
teach,
do.
I know because I was in the pulpit, and someone was talking earlier. When you look at the pulpit, it's really pulling into the pit. But and it is. And so you give the salvation call. Actually, what you've done is just opened the pit of hell and brought them in. And, you know,
Welcome home.
and that's the conversion process. Look
I've
at
got
you.
visuals of us pastors standing at that damn pulpit now ringing in the mid.
Yeah, yeah. There's so much truth to that too. That's the
Drowning them
hardest
in the
part.
stagnant water.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's so
man.
dirty. It's so dirty. It is dirty work. It is dirty psychological work. And I've always called it out, but right now where we're at, it's really got to be called out. This is dirty work. And they're
Yeah.
going hard on it, pulling people into the pit via the pulpit.
That's a
Oh my
wizard. That's what a wizard does in the Kabbalah Christian mindset, is that's what it's up. It's not the pastor. And if you think, what does a pastor do? A pastor watches the flock for why? To fatten the flock up for slaughter.
To take them to slaughter.
I
Correct.
mean, I ain't getting the love vibe and all. That's all I'm
He even
saying.
gives biscuits to the kids at break time. They really do.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, on our website sometimes the
Uh,
biscuits for
and
the
then,
baby. Know.
and then I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. What if Enki was truly bound to this place, right? What if his brother and his daddy said, all right, we got one for you. You're going to stay here until we come back. It's kind of like his timeout. Because Enki, I equate to Dennis the Menace. He's a menace, you know? It's what he
Yeah.
is, but you know what? He's a cute guy. He's got that type of personality. You love him even though he's a jack off, It's just, you know.
Can I make a suggestion that I've been trying to make go viral, but I haven't been online enough to do it? But I would suggest after because Wayne, and Trina, every time the numbers go down in the church, they have a meeting and it's like we need a rapture party. And there's been many, hasn't there, Wayne?
Oh,
Many
yeah.
rapture parties,
Yeah.
to pull the numbers back in. I suggest we teach, since they're all gone this time further than I've ever seen them go before this country too. I suggest the day after Rapture, we ignore them all. We pretend they're not there. We move into their homes if we need a home. We put them in purgatory. Let them really know what it's like to not be seen. Problem solved. We can pass things that serve humanity. We can get rid of a huge slew of people that, let them think that for just a week even to know, let them see how ridiculous it is. I think we should ghost them. I think we should ghost them and let them know, let them think the rapture didn't quite work out, but now they're not seen. Because this ridiculousness has got to stop.
Well, they used
And
it as a form of control. I mean, I can remember when I was a practicing Christian, the rapture thing, although it's just a concept, it's, the catching away is what Paul wrote. But folks, you have to ask yourself, how did Paul write his books before the Gospels were written?
hmm,
Which freaking Jesus is Paul talking about? Because it ain't the
Right.
one in the four Gospels, that's for damn sure. But anyway, I digress. But the thing about it is that you had to walk the straight and narrow because this rapture could happen at any time and at any second.
you'll never know it.
Exactly. You'll
Have
never know
clean
it. You
hands
don't
on.
want to be caught with your pants down. Now the
Hmm.
question is, why are your pants down? But that's besides the point. I don't know. It's a great
You
idiom, right?
don't want to be caught that way.
I'm just saying, someone knew something.
I say we ghost
Yeah.
them, put them in purgatory for a
Ah,
week, 3 days tops, move into their house, shower in their bathrooms, let them realize how ridiculous this was, because it's got to
ah.
stop. It's every 15 years or so, 10, 15, 20 years is about the cycle I've worked out in my lifetime. So, they do it every time. They plan a rapture party when they need to solidify mass psychosis. They do.
Yeah, and someone wrote earlier, I saw in the chat room, what happened on Sunday. I spoke about it yesterday, but you cannot ignore this. This is something that has
Yeah.
all the and I haven't seen anything potentially, let me just say potentially, like this since about 1979, when the charismatic movement came through the world. And of course, there out of that, these young people like us, me particularly, we became politically active and we had an impression on government for the next 10, 15 years. And that's what I see taking place here. I see a form of nationalism being taken place, and everyone just needs to be on, just be aware. There is something going on. Um,
Discernment.
yeah.
The trap is being set, I think, for a lot of different objectives for people. And it's not real clear what all those are yet, but they're starting to show their faces. But yeah,
Yeah, they
we
I
are
are.
think
into something for sure. Yeah.
I think 1930s has come in a loop, and we spoke about it last term, and this term, 1930s is here in a loop. Everything down to the words being used, down to the othering of different people. Everything
I
is
contend we're seeing something even older being replayed here. This is
I
almost
can
like the
imagine.
last days of the Roman Empire
Yeah.
before it made its conversion from a secular government to becoming a religious ideology.
And I was reading up when that happened, they actually started othering people who were absolutely genetically the same, from the same space, but darker skin amongst them started to be ostracized by these people who took the religious sculpting power that was coming about. And so when you think, this prejudice or racism being man-made truly is to create an air of grace around one skin type that managed to take root in Christianity, and the other, all for a more tanned skin at the time in the Roman Empire, to solidify this thing that has run through our royal family very, very strongly, to maintain that alongside the religious beliefs. And when you think of how ridiculous that is, but where we are, I agree with you. It's like 1930s-esque with a twist of ancient technology.
Yeah, and the more I'm studying, I'm reaching out to Dr. Pamela, Heather Lynn, excuse me, because I really want to get her on the show because you can't help but not think, and it's permeating my thought process that the reality is that all right, these appear to be physical beings. They actually did have physical bodies, and
Hmm.
they're not like us. We apparently are in their image, whatever the hell that means. I mean, I could paint an image of you two right now that you would swear that ain't me, but for me, that's what you look like in my image, you know? But so it would appear for all the confusion, what if these beings are in fact physically coming back?
Hmm.
You can't ignore that aspect because you see, I can tie that same story into the second coming of Christ. Or I
Yes.
can repeat that same story as the return of Muhammad.
Yeah.
It fits the narrative.
Abrahamic religion.
And what
It's
if they show up and it has that shock factor? How would they appear? I was thinking last night before I went to bed, you know how I think they're going to appear? They're going to appear to as these gods.
Hmm.
They would probably come with the technology holographic, much like Project Bluebeam, but they would literally be on a flying horse and they would be clothed in what we would call lightning. I mean, talk about making that would shock the world.
And they say they'll return on the cloud, Shekinah glory.
I
I mean, it can
mean,
be a million
is that
different
what we're
things.
being set up for?
I think so, because this is what they say they were going to do. They say that they would return. And it
They
looks
did
like
say they would return.
we've got seven objects coming in. The first
What'd y'all
two,
think about that? That really
yeah,
freaked me out last week. I
yeah. And
mean,
the second one they just found is called Swan. Well, what's the god represented with the swan, riding a swan? Apollo. Who's the you see what I'm saying? These are Elohim gods that they're naming these comments after,
and
and
the
there's seven
Elohim
of them
are in
coming in.
fact the Anunnaki.
Yeah, yeah,
Even
that's what I'm
the
like.
name Maga, the name
You,
Maga's tied, isn't it, Trina? Maga's tied to like Anunnaki, Sumerian. I can't remember the interpretation of the word Maga, but I remember reading about it, and it is tied to a much more ancient terminology, very much so. So even
yes.
all of the terminology, all of the words, all of the calling upon in some of these things I've seen just in clips over the last few days where the spiritual master is up on the stage, they're calling on some shit, and I'm thinking I bind that up in 1,000 ways because they're calling like openly and they're getting cheered for it, and it's like, whoa, this is like Kenneth Copeland on steroids.
Well, this
Yep.
It's
is, yeah, Kenneth could only hope.
reaching over here, like it's reaching, it's.
They
Crazy.
say it surpassed the Super Bowl in viewership. 1.4 billion people watched that.
Yep.
Hmm.
Which I
Six and a
have to
half
say,
hours.
that is the most greatest sign I've seen for ascension and positive, because for people to view more of a religious situation
Mm-hmm.
versus playing ball, I mean, that's a huge difference right there. Because what do you do when you want your children to get out of your way and leave the room? Go play ball.
Yeah.
That's exactly why they give us ball games. So with that, to see more people tuning into that than that, that to me was like, oh, beautiful, beautiful. This is good. Good consciousness. We're seeing examples of people would rather tune in to try to know goodness in any way they can, than to play ball. So I thought that was a good thing and not a bad thing. When I saw that.
I didn't pick up on much goodness there, to be fair. I picked up on a lot of
Oh,
blasphemy,
it,
a
it,
lot of
It's
warmongering.
it's definitely being done on purpose, and this is definitely
Yeah,
part of an agenda, I believe. And yeah, but what we do with it, that's going to be the difference, is what we do with it with our consciousness. How it affects is what
yeah.
they're trying to accomplish. So if we can find ways to make it into positive, it's really going to help the outcome
I
of
love
what's
the
being done.
energy. My concern is that, and Lynn and I were talking in bed about this morning, is that my concern is that you're going to, this has the potential of turning into Christian nationalism.
It is here.
Yeah,
And
Those
when
words are
that
very much.
inciting.
Yeah.
happens, now we're looking at 1930 because that
Mhm.
was really the ushering in of
Yeah,
something that no one wanted, but it was under the guise of unification,
yeah.
unity.
Yeah.
We walk
Mhm.
in love.
But what if
God,
people literally come to the place, Wayne, where they're like, anybody should be able to believe what they want, and that would break a lot of the stuff apart, because people would be like on their own path, but everybody would accept if they were on a path, to try to be a better person, a good person, have compassion, empathy, as long as you're
You know
not
what they're
hurting
still
other
going to
people.
call us?
Probably,
Pagans.
yeah,
yeah.
probably.
I mean,
All of the
the
words
fact
were
that,
they, us, them, we, war, come against, unleash. All of those words are inciting. That's why I put 1930 in the chat earlier, because it literally is like that here. People who aren't Christians, haven't been to a church, haven't even touched a Bible, are like rallying for these scriptural
Yep.
commands of we must protect. So it hasn't done
I ran
much
into
good.
two people this weekend that have been lifelong different other religions, and this event changed them into Christianity overnight. So this is extremely powerful.
but you see, I also recall the words of Jesus in Matthew 21, I believe, though he said, I did not come to bring peace, but I came to bring war. I did
Yep.
not come to bring unity. I came to separate man from wife, father from son, mother
Yep.
from daughter.
Yep. People don't want to read those parts of the
And
Bible,
then you got
though.
to ask, well, why
Yeah.
did his disciples carry swords? I mean, that's the equivalency of basically having your secret service. They would be today the
Yeah,
equivalent, they would be carrying automatic machine
Yeah.
guns.
it
Yeah.
would be a mafia. It would be a
And you
mafia.
could further that Peter basically shot the ear off one of the ICE agents.
Yeah.
I mean, you can interpret, however you want, but that's what the equivalency is.
Yeah. Metaphorically, in our current day,
Metaphorically,
that would
I
be
mean,
exactly how that went. Yeah.
yeah. And
Exactly.
that's my concern. I love the unity. I love that the fact that forgiveness was spoken about above revenge, and that
Yeah.
there was an
Yeah.
alternative way of which can, even distant enemies could reconcile, in which we saw that play out with Trump and Musk. But I got to tell you, I've never seen in my lifetime an event like this that was represented by the sitting government that had such a prominent position in this. Whereas normally these events are pretty much left to be religious in their context, and you don't see the state, which the state is the president, Congress. And when I get why. I mean, it was a funeral service, but still, it
And
It's
lots of political points were brought up. More political points were brought up than religious points
true.
when you look at it. So there was no separating of the two, of having the state there to pay their reverence to the past over. It was very definitely that they came for political
If
reasons
they
too.
open the platform to all religions, then I say that we stand a chance.
Mm-hmm.
But if they begin to segregate by dogma or ideology, then yikes.
I
You
just,
can,
why can't we learn from the past, the
oh,
Inquisitions,
treat them a
all of
love
these
isn't,
things? Yeah, it's
oh,
like,
yeah.
why don't we
That's the billion
learn?
dollar question. We don't,
Yeah, this is so
uh,
toxic, and we've done it over and over again. It's like, it doesn't work. If
they
you
burn
do the
us at the
same thing
stake, is what
over,
they did to the last time we tried to bring this
yes,
story.
I don't want to be burnt
and you do
again.
the same thing over and over,
And
it's
their God loves
infuriating.
the smell of burnt flesh. What
Yeah,
the hell?
no,
Yes, salted.
I like a barbecue. I just don't want to be on the spick. That's all.
Not
right?
again, please, no.
Right, not again, not again. Are
In
we not
fact, I
going to
was
learn? I
reading
mean, ah,
in the book, and in fact, the Anunnaki have eaten humans. They don't make
Yes.
it a regular part of their diet, but it is
Wayne, look at
recorded.
the Anunnaki. They were extremely large.
Yeah, they were.
Giants, giants eat humans. So
Yes.
with that,
Could
that
be like,
could be very possible.
Jeez.
yeah. I
Hello,
don't want to
Susie
be
Yeah.
eating
Q.
a
Love
giant's
everybody in
food.
the chat room. Just some really good people. Good sense of humor. I like that, And if you got a sense of humor and topics like this, you're
You're
highly
probably not
intelligent.
religious. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm naughty today because I'm sick of this BS. Like Katrina
It's
said,
hard.
I am tired of this illusion and this facade, this religious war, spiritual war. Actually, we're causing it by the manifestation and the belief in it. Otherwise, it does not need to exist. We can eliminate it today. I don't care what religion. I think all of them should go. I think we should have a spring
When
clean
they do, man will
equinox.
step into his rightful inheritance.
Oh, please
But
say
we
that.
can't, they will not let us out into the universe. No.
You know,
I love our species, but
they won't let us out
Sorry.
into the universe. That's funny because when you really understand what you are and who you are the universe. So
Uh-huh.
there is no denying you from going with what you already are unless you comply or say that you put yourself in your own mindset of imprisonment. But like I said, when you really start to figure out what you are as soul and what you are as spirit, all that stuff shatters. It's gone. It's
yeah, but
irrelevant.
sweetheart, I still reserve the thing. And as I said yesterday, if I was to see one of these Anunnaki, I'd probably
Mhm.
piss on myself. I'd just be honest with you.
Bodily functions are bodily functions. Come
Well, I was going to say, your body is
I'm
going
just
to
being
on.
react.
honest.
Yeah.
I don't know
Go
what I would
ahead.
do seeing just, and I'm sure I could hear Ner Herzog said, I thought I fixed that problem, but they're
I
still
think,
doing it.
but
Power.
Wayne, what if that's part of the ultimate activation is they need a shock value
Yeah.
to install
Uh, yeah.
trauma-based programming. We've
Uh,
heard a little bit about that recently.
Hmm?
uh, and if they're truly coming back, because all the religions say they're coming back, all of them, even the Hindu record says they're coming back.
Yeah. And I believe it. If they all say it, they know the cycles. And we've got all this planetary stuff coming in with that this might be when they arrive. I mean, we've got seven things. There's
I
too
wonder if
much
the
right now. The
Greys have fulfilled.
chauffeurs, there seems to be something's coming in.
I wonder if the Greys have fulfilled their mission. I was thinking about this. I said, could you imagine if they realized, like, oh crap, they're coming back? We're so far behind, and look at the place, and I'm
What
wondering,
you been up to?
yeah,
Get a
yeah, and it's like, are they
bus.
like maybe that's why we're seeing all these ships and listen, there is this real phenomenon people are missing. And it
Yeah.
just ain't a
Yeah,
couple
a
thousand, it
lot,
ain't a couple
a
hundred.
lot.
It's like in the millions people around the earth are missing. And I'm thinking, are they trying to play catch up so that when the gods do return back, they can say, this is what I don't know.
They're definitely doing some kind of gardening somewhere.
You
There's
know,
definitely someone doing some kind of gardening.
And I often want to know, are the Anunnaki the gods, or I guess like Anu, right? Because Anu is supreme, right? Um, does he reign supreme in death? Because they die too. So if they're the ones who died first, this is why it's put on us.
what if this is why they live so long is because they're technological beings, and after when they do expire, what if they can just get into a new bodysuit?
Well, then again, they may have be made out of kryptonite. Yeah, I mean,
There,
I,
yeah,
I mean,
God only knows.
their physical structure. I have no doubt that they have physical form, but
I do
for
too.
some reason, it doesn't age, or it doesn't age like we do. And
No,
remember, they did that to us.
yeah,
Yeah, the telomeres have been
Thank
shortened.
you. That was the word I was thinking, trying to. Jenny, you read my mind, sweetie.
yep,
The
yep,
I
telomeres have
don't,
been capped.
they
yeah.
have, and I don't consent.
I
I
I
don't
don't
don't.
consent
either.
either. It pisses me off. And
Me
here I hear
too.
Herzog said, I fixed that problem already. All right, so maybe it doesn't piss me off, but it makes me mad.
I'm cross.
And then are they going to
What if what if this whole situation is happening because they need us to divide and pick sides so they can pick a side that they're going to utilize for, their, because it looks like these gods come back and, take women for their own for more hybridization and stuff. I wonder if this is all part of that. I don't know.
You
But what
know,
if
I'm
it's
glad
just
you brought
screwed
this
up
up
men?
because in her book, there was apparently a rift that woman, the female, um, apparently is in the penalty box. It's why we're dominated with the unbalance of this one-sided, this masculine.
What if the whole gig behind that is because if they don't control the feminine, they will have no control? What if that's why?
I'll just be
Mhm.
honest, ladies, if we were in our forest, I looked at myself as being kind of like one of the guards because, you don't touch the women. I don't care what you're thinking, you don't touch the women, you know. You can have the wine, you can have some food, don't touch the women.
And we're the
Mm.
thing that they always come after.
The women.
There you
That's right. If we were
Yeah.
so irrelevant, then why would we be regarded as their highest prize?
Yeah. I bet
Yeah,
Robert V could address this, the pioneer women.
yeah.
What those who were captured by the Indians, what they were subjected to, and it's this repeated cycle. It's the attack on the divine feminine. The male doesn't know how to handle that energy. And I would say today we're even in a weaker spot because most men are confused when confronted with true divine feminine energy. It's number one, it's extremely intense, but for many males it becomes toxic because we've lost that knowledge. We don't teach boys how to
Intimidating.
be men anymore.
Yeah,
No.
we're feminizing them.
Well, we're both feminizing them and radicalizing them because we're feminizing them, then teaching them to not be in control of their emotions and be outwardly angry at
Yeah,
everything.
it's so
So that
confusing.
again, it's that walking contradiction. So they're
Yes.
intimidated by a woman who can hold her ground and say,
Hmm.
"Yeah, no, it just they don't like it, and so
Well,
it's annoying.
it's to me too, it's like the only way this heals is that if we start to truly embrace that we are both. We are masculine and feminine. And that would stop the whole crap is if everybody would really see, no, there's no getting out of it. You are masculine. You are feminine. You need to embrace the fullness of what you are because
Yeah.
this is what they do. They keep us divided so we'll never tap into the real power of what it means to access all of it.
It's
Again,
like,
it's a
when I make French toast, I like to
contradiction.
add almond extract with the vanilla extract. Why?
Yeah.
Because those two extracts combined have such a explosion of such subtlety of flavors.
I
That's
must
what
have
I
been
see male
reading
and
your
female
mind,
being.
Wayne. I was reading your mind. I have been craving French toast all week and I've had it twice.
That sounds
And
most
I haven't had it in
yummy.
a long while. And I was like, oh, I want French toast. So I'm like, I must have been picking up on
You
you,
had to
French
been
toast.
picking up because that's exactly what Lynn wanted for breakfast on Sunday. And but
Hmm.
but that point is that you have the main ingredients, right? But
Yeah.
you know, and that's the wonderfulness of our species. And I'm my mission until the day that I leave this planet is to be of some service to the divine feminine, to the idea, to the thought, to the reality.
What's so funny? It's like, they say that the female was, it's a different part of the body and it's a different aspect and it's the more receptive part. So, like, we're supposed to be the ones that help bring forth the messages for the men. We're
Yeah,
supposed to be working together and we don't know our parts anymore and we don't know where our strengths are and where our weaknesses are. So, the strengths of the female can support the weaknesses of the male and the strengths of the male can protect and help the female. It's a beautiful balance when
very.
they're working together, and it causes chaos, destruction, and death when they're in opposition of each other.
You
Yeah.
see, that's why I love it. Someone wrote that the Herzog said that when the first woman was created, she said, she looks like me.
Yeah.
I went, far out. I mean, and I think that that makes, I am convinced throughout the galaxy, there are other bipedals, there are other humanids. I don't know if they look like us. I don't know if they're a distant relative, but I do know this, and I'll say this. Earth, the greatest treasure we have is the woman. It is our greatest treasure and our greatest gift.
But the woman couldn't be without the masculine.
No, that's true. That's
Yeah,
very true.
it's like the man is just as important as the female, but the man has been expressed in this reality in a very powerful way, in a dominant way. But we have suppressed the feminine. It's just time now to bring that up and blend them together somehow. And this is our challenge. Our ultimate challenge is, can we unify the masculine and feminine to where they're actually working the way that they were intended to work? And I don't think we've seen that, Wayne, ever.
I think that mission control,
I think
we
we
keep
have,
it
but
clean here. It's, it's metaphorically speaking. Not
Mm-hmm.
that physical
Mm-hmm.
touch, there's anything wrong with that.
I was going to say, I was going to add the caveat,
Yeah,
You know,
I'm
nothing
like,
wrong
no,
with
the
that
touch is
either.
important too. Yeah.
it's funny. Lynn said, you lay hands on me often. And I said, yes. And I'm speaking Healy every time. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you
That's
do that.
how's
powerful.
that for you?
I was at a birthday dinner last night and my friend was sitting next to me and it's her birthday. And I just put my hand on her shoulder. She's like, my gosh, you're fire coming out of your. I'm like, sorry. Okay. She's like, no, put it back.
Wear
I'm
your
like,
gloves
no.
next time.
Cody,
Yeah.
it's interesting. The Holy Spirit is the divine feminine. It's interesting. I have a white paper from, I think it's one of the colleges, the Theological, and it's dealing with the fact that the church sees it as masculine, but the fact is that in certain pagan circles, the Holy Spirit is feminine.
Absolutely.
You know what?
No
I
question.
see that and how it makes sense to me because I've battled with that question so much. You
Yeah.
know what I think is it's like, okay, like the masculine represents the sun, the projector, right?
Hmm.
And then she would be the waters or the mirror. And that's why when they created something, it came out of her as her own reflection. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how it flips like that, because it can either come as her own reflection or it can be a perfect imitation of the image of the God masculine force. So that's how I was seeing the Holy Spirit. And then it went deeper for me as she is the medium between spirit and matter. And the waters are that medium. And that water has different states and different dimensions. So the water goes all the way to plasma and ether. And you see what I'm saying? But the essence of it is still the union between the image and the projection. So it's still always the mirror and the eye. It's always the mirror and the eye, the water and the eye. And this is where you get the whole fire and water. It's all balanced. If we could just put it together and unify it, this world would completely change.
I discovered that the feminine is, and it's interesting because if you study the Old Testament, particularly in the book of Proverbs, the
Mhm,
first three Proverbs are speaking of wisdom, and
mhm.
wisdom is in the feminine pronoun. And so if you carry this further, wisdom is that Holy Spirit. It is the spirit that contains the wisdom. That it's interesting because it said, I, wisdom, stood at the feet, was at his feet, and I was his daily delight.
Yes, because
Masculine, feminine.
he could see what he was projecting. He could see for the first time his own creation. Without her, he couldn't see it. The masculine part of God, it was invisible. It's
Hmm.
thought. And without the mirror, without the water, there was no medium, so it couldn't see itself.
And we
It's
use
like,
it today, mother, don't,
yeah, it's like
it's
the
not
eyes
nice
that,
to mess with Mother Nature. She's feminine. You know,
yes.
it's
And the eye that you see God with is the same eye that God sees you with. That's again the Holy Spirit versus the soul. It's the same interaction that we are working with to create everything that we see. It's coming from those two forces.
Gaia, Sophia. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
in fact,
yeah.
we've actually covered that, Sophia and
Yep.
the Apocrypha. That's why,
Mhm.
this channel has definitely got, you know, it ain't no jock station, but did you see that happening?
No swinging balls.
I could see, Jenny, I just
So,
saw you like, coming out with, full pads on. It's like, it's like,
I can do
geez.
the hoo hoo.
There you go. Uh,
Can I just answer Bonnie a little bit in that
sure,
nothing's
sure.
fixed, but as far as the moon cycle, very definitely there's parasites have a moon cycle when they're in our body. We
Yeah.
definitely, when we speak about the Christ consciousness, the Christos, actually that's really badly translated in biblical terms, in that it speaks about this time right now, the
And that's
equinox
a
time.
sun cycle, isn't it?
Yeah, when the equinox time, when it moves into your, but actually it conjects with the moon as well, Trina. So which
Yeah,
what we've
yeah.
seen the moon activity this month. There's been active full moons for extended periods, and that's in conjunction, but not all at the same time for everybody. It's when it comes into your cycle at that time is when you can have these huge awakenings of this big bolus
'Cause
of
don't they
chaos.
say that the Christ seed is born in you every 30 days when the
Yeah.
sun is in your astrological birth sign of your sun sign? And then, like you said, and the moon is controlling the parasites, the menstruation, the blood, all
Yeah.
these other
And the
functions.
waves, all of
It's
those things.
wild.
So yeah, it does have a draw. It is a magnetism between the sun and the moon. It is a magnetism with us between the water and the earth and the fire. And there's a magnetism between these beings, these concepts, these attributes that we have above us, around us, and within us. So I do, it does absolutely, we do have those cycles, and the moon is a big part of that alongside the sun. I think I think we need to think again about the moon a little bit more regarding any, not that Bonnie said this, but regarding any demonization or fear of it, because actually, it's created a lot of creation here. It's helped to create a lot of cycles here that we need. The trees need it too, and they are having amassed this month So we're having the acorn trees in what we call a mast, where they produce 4 or 5 times the amount of seeds than they usually would. And they feed the pigs on the ground. They feed so that they have these cycles too, with these intense moon and sun periods where they are activated to have what we call mast, M-A-S-T, where they create so much more seeds than before. And it's the oak tree, and various other trees that do this during this mast period. So it's reflected in everything, these cycles that are connected. Of course, the trees just don't question, they just feel it and accept it and do. And it's a good space for us to be
On
there to
top of
do that.
that, the original calendar was a lunar calendar, 13 months.
That's right.
It
Yeah.
was designed in the agricultural sense to follow or to mirror the women's menstrual cycle.
There you go.
That's how it was originally done. The calendar that we use today is a recent addition, but yeah, and in fact, you can still find many cultures that use the lunar calendar.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was part of the removal of the divine feminine from the consciousness of humanity. I
Seems
mean,
like that was Egypt. Seems like that was the real when that went into major effect was in
probably,
Egypt.
yeah,
Yeah. Because we went to
amazing.
sun worship and they
Yeah,
literally got rid of the lunar focus because I think it might have been more moon based and then it got transferred.
yeah.
But yeah, there's so much we don't know and so much we only have bits and pieces of to try to put the pieces together. So it's all confusing
Well, I
because
know
I
Lilith
don't
was
think we
out in
have
the
the full
woods.
story.
I heard her this morning. It took Bentley out about 5:15, and I love it when our owl is on our forest, and
Oh,
it's so cool. Yeah. Well, ladies, this has been another exciting adventure. It's been wonderful. Uh, it- we truly are in extraordinary times, and
Yeah.
it's so well. In one way, it's very stimulating, and in other ways, it's like, okay, like the title is, well, what do they have planned for us? And the question I had is that it's conversations like this that alters the narrative.
Yes.
An
Yeah.
openness to say, well, I may not believe exactly like you, but you know
It
what?
just helps you think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like ice
And
cream?
think,
Yeah, I love ice
what
cream.
about
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah. Well, I
Yeah, because
like chocolate.
none of
I
us
like
have the
vanilla.
truth.
Yeah.
We
no,
we're all
not
looking for pieces of
all.
truth, but none of us hold the truth. So I think
And
that's
there
the
can
most
be no
beautiful.
one truth for anyone, can there, Trina? There can be no one truth. That's why religion
Right.
is, because there can be no
Yes.
one truth for anybody. Because my
Yes.
perspective and my reverence and my relevance in a certain aspect in the same room, both me and Trina will get totally different messages because they resonate with our code within us. They could come
And
from
think
the
about
exact
it. That's going
frequencies.
right back to our fingerprint because you
Exact.
are a specific frequency of creation that only you have access to those records of creation because you're a vibrational match. As
Yeah.
I am a match, as Wayne is a match, as all of you are a match. You are all of individual frequency, a piece of this grand creation puzzle.
When
And when we can start
exactly.
to, yeah, bring those fingerprints and hold hands,
When
wow,
it
things
becomes
are going
a
to happen.
lie is when your reflection, your reverence, your inner standing of the same frequency oppresses another person's or
Yeah.
tries to imprint on or interject on the other person's
Yes.
interpretation. Again,
Yes.
religion. But so
Yes.
there's no truth and there's lots of good questions. So thank you, Bonnie.
And
And
someone keeps
everybody.
saying that's just the second time. What do I feed y'all too much? I mean, someone said you feed us with a fire hose, and what we're looking for is a drink from the garden hose. I'm sorry. That's why they
Right?
say replay.
Oh, come to the bosom.
Yeah. Well, we've been doing this for a while, so I'm sure if anybody is kind of relatively new to these topics, I'm sure it's really hard to process. So,
You
you know,
really
I,
have to be
I
running
feel
it.
you.
It's that
Yeah.
hamster.
We
you
went
know.
Yeah,
fast. We did go fast today.
Well, I
yeah,
love y'all. It's
love you.
always
You
fun.
too.
I mean, it truly is.
Yeah,
And
and I really think that, a lot of people are trying to get pushed right now to believe a certain way. And I really just hope that you can just understand that whatever you are, if you're being the best you that you can be, you're giving the greatest gift to this experience for all of us by being the authentic you, because there's nobody else like you. So remember that.
Love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yep.
What you got going on there,
I'm just
Jenny?
pulling the cards so people can keep their wisdom about them this week. 'Cause it's going to be a bumpy old ride for those who choose to get on the roller coaster. You could just choose not to and leave everybody else the F
Right.
alone.
Yeah,
Fine,
just
but
don't look at it.
just don't look.
Don't look. And if you see it, go, oh, I have a better plan. What would I like to see? And anchor your thoughts
Yeah,
of what you
after
would see.
Rapture as well,
Mhm.
ignore
Yeah.
anybody that said they were going to Rapture.
Yeah.
Let's try and heal the children from the trauma of them talking about it all week. But I think that would be a wonderful idea. It hasn't been done before, and it might just fix the issue because it's a
Yeah.
cyclical issue.
It's and even within the Christian world in itself, there's great debate.
So we've got the Knight of Cups here. You can see he's
Again,
got his chalice. You can see the horse is in a poised but calm, very dashful position. And the knight is straight backed. He's got the cup. It's not falling over. It's not tipping out. Because why? He's in control of his emotions and he's in control of the messages that he puts forth via his emotions. So this is a knight like no other. He makes you feel great because you know that he doesn't hold you to his emotions being upset. He knows that emotions are a conduit and a choice to use, and nobody else could prod or poke this knight into a reaction, emotional reaction. There is no way. He's on his horse, he's poised, he's handsome, he's bold, but he's not giving his emotions to places for them to feed weeds. Is not giving his emotions to other people's wills and whims. Is poised on his horse with his cup not running over, but full of good messages, love, connection, communion for those who choose to control their emotions around him. So that's for everybody. I love that. Thank
Um,
you, Spirit.
that is cool, cool stuff. So,
It,
a
it's
lot of people have
exactly
mixed
what we
ideas.
need. I
Yeah,
think
it
that's
is.
exactly what we
Thank you,
need. And I think
Spirit.
that's like,
Yeah.
if you want to heal this, control your emotions. This is the
Control your
most
emotions.
important message. It really is. And you just nailed it, Jenny. I mean, that is the bottom line. Control your emotions. Don't let them steer you. Be
Yeah, stop.
true to you.
It's everywhere. It's dirty.
Breathe
Keep it
in the
clean.
gathering tide.
Mm,
Watch the
that was
colors
awesome.
fade.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Tina.
Love you, ladies. Love everyone
Love
in the
Have
chat
you.
fun.
room. And Jackie J says, keep on smiling. And that's what Willie said. You
Yeah,
just got to keep on smiling.
yeah,
That's all you have to do. And
yeah.
this is a fun group.
Mhm.
There is, I tell you, I enjoy this group. Y'all are unique individuals. And, I'd be pretty sad if there was a rapture because we would be the ones going.
I
Because
wouldn't
there's
be
more
sad
love in
because
this
guess
group
what?
than I've
We're
ever seen in any
consciousness,
church
Wayne.
group.
We
I
would
don't
know
want to
each
go where
other.
they go.
Wherever we would go, we would be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah,
We would know
yeah.
each other instantly. We
Did you
wouldn't
see
skip a
the
beat,
waiting
I
party
don't
on the
think.
other side? Oh
I
crap!
think,
It's
yeah,
them.
yeah.
Or we could just finally experience paradise on earth and have fun with it.
Exactly. I love it.
Yeah, we could create a Wayne's Magic school bus and we could just start traveling. Let's go on a massive vacation.
I'm sure. I'm sure that George and John are in there as well. Having a good time. Jan, we love
Yes.
you. Mary wins. Loved ones. She is
Oh,
always
Wayne, you were
consistent.
talking about that little child was John Lennon.
Yes,
I saw
yes.
that too. I couldn't believe you saw that. I was
What is
like,
going on
that
with
was
you're the
really,
ninth person that has now said that.
isn't that weird? We're all connecting to the same information at the same time.
Wow.
There is something to that. And you know what I heard when you were talking about that, honey, this is the evidence that consciousness never dies. I was
Bingo.
like, this is more evidence of what we are trying to understand is real.
Yeah.
It's a touching story, whether it's
Oh, it
true or not.
is.
I don't care.
Yeah.
It. Yeah. I happen to. They say it's a true story, and the detailed to what was in that. But yeah,
That's what I mean. The scratch on the guitar and all of
yeah.
those details nobody knew. And he even said how it happened and what string it was underneath.
And then
You,
the Louvre was
you,
broken.
yes, that's what I mean. It's so unbelievable. And that's how you validate reincarnation is by details that nobody else could have ever known. And to be a public figure and have things not known is pretty difficult. There was so much that was ever not that's to me that's evidence.
And I could just
Yeah.
imagine only a person experiencing that, because they're in a club, they're drinking beer, two and two together, you're going to have to, resolve something. And to climb that many, yeah, I could dig that. It was like, only,
Me
well, only he
too.
would know that.
That's right. And can you
5-year-old would
imagine?
have no point of reference.
Could
Mhm.
you imagine how Yoko would be processing that?
Oh, wow. She's still alive.
Yes.
92. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And maybe all of this is happening so that when she leaves, she knows it never ends either. The love never ends. And maybe that was the most important message from all of it was love never dies.
So the last song was that, what
The
was it? The
eternal
bridge between two
bridge.
worlds, love.
Yes, the
Yeah.
bridge.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been to that bridge. I've
Me
seen that
too.
bridge. I'm
Hmm.
I'm seeing it right now.
Yeah,
We are.
Yeah.
yeah. And that we are the
Yeah.
realm bridgers. So
I'm right
it's what
back there
Lenin,
again.
yeah, it's what Lenin was writing about was the bridge between the two. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to remember how to be the bridge.
And I swear to you, I see Brian over there again with that
Yeah.
damn shit-eating grin of his. And anyway, um,
Oh,
we love y'all. Someone says,
yeah.
I just fixed a guitar. Mine's sitting right over there. So,
Nice.
yeah, you
It's
Nice.
know,
so good.
I pluck at it. I'm not learned to play yet, but I do pluck pretty good. So
Uh-huh. That's how we learn, a little at a time.
my
Yes,
wife
nothing.
says I sing much better than I play. So anyway,
Give it
I took
time,
that
Wayne.
as a
Give it
friendly
time.
hint. Now I keep the office door closed.
You're like, sorry, honey.
Yeah, says I love you, but
Nothing to hear here.
Not
you
yet.
sing just great, but that I don't know what the hell you're
Mhm.
doing in there, but stop it. I
A
think she told
thousand
me at
hours
one time,
practice and he opens the door again.
she says, are you trying to kill a cat or what? I'm like, said, thanks a lot. I'm doing the best I can.
Wasn't
Right.
it,
We're
honey?
trying. Yeah, these fingers won't
All right,
cooperate.
everybody, you got your laugh in. Laughter
That's
doeth
right.
the heart is a good medicine. So
Mm.
laugh, and I'll guarantee you will stay younger.
Yeah,
It just happens that way. All right, ladies.
absolutely.